Call to order. Good evening, everybody. The date is February 18, 2026. The time is 6 o'clock p.m. And I would like to call this public meeting of the Rochelle Park Township Committee to order. Open Public Meeting Act. Pursuant to the Open Public Meeting Act, notice of the February 18, 2026 meeting was published on the Township website on January 7, 2026, in the Bergen Record and Herald News on January 11th, and the Our Town on January 22nd. Notice of the closed session meeting was published on the Township website and transmitted to the Bergen Record and Herald News on February 14, 2026. Copies of all notices are on file with the Township Clerk and have been made available to the public. Roll call, please.
Committeewoman Alfici.
Here.
Committeewoman George Carvello.
Here.
Committeeman Smith.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Chewinski.
Here.
Mayor Miller.
Here. Thank you so much. At this time, I'll ask for a motion to adopt resolution number 26-081, authorizing the Township Committee to enter closed session to discuss legal issues, litigation, potential litigation, contract negotiations, and attorney-client privilege matters. Topics include Tolver Realty versus the Township of Rochelle Park and contract land use board attorney. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Committeewoman Alfici.
Yes.
Committeewoman George Carvello.
Yes.
Committeeman Smith.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Chewinski.
Yes.
Mayor Miller.
Yes. All right. Thank you. The Township Committee will now enter closed session for approximately 1 hour, after which we will return to public session for further action. We are now in closed session. Motion to come out of closed session.
Motion.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Committeewoman Alfici.
Yes.
Committeewoman George Carvello.
Yes.
Committeeman Smith.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Chewinski.
Yes.
Mayor Miller.
Yes. All right. Please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. All right. At this time, I will administer the oath of office to the officers of the Rochelle Park Volunteer Fire Department. I'm going to start with Matthew Azzolino, and then we'll swear in the rest of the officers. Township Committee, please join me in front of the dais.
Okay.
Hey. Who's going to hold it?
Yeah, you guys hold it.
All right, let's face the audience. Right hand, right? On that side. Yeah, so right hand on the Bible. Or left hand on the left hand. Left hand on the Bible, raise your right hand. And repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Matthew Azzolino,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I will bear truth, faith, and allegiance to the same,
and to the governments established
and to the governments established
in the United States
in the United States
and in this state,
and in this state,
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
and that I will faithfully,
and that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly
and justly
perform all the duties of the office of
perform all the duties of the office of Second Lieutenant,
Lieutenant of the Rochelle Park Volunteer Fire Department,
Lieutenant of Rochelle Park Volunteer Fire Department,
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my ability,
so help me
so
God.
help me God.
Congratulations. All right, so this is just going to be one. All right, can I invite the rest of the officers to come join us in front of the dais?
Oh, wait a minute.
Hold the line. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm gonna just say I say your name.
Everybody crowding around that.
All right, yeah, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear
Do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
and to the governments established
and to the governments established
in the United States
in the United States
and in this state,
and in this state,
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
and that I will faithfully,
and I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly
and justly
perform all the duties of the office of
perform all the duties of the office of Township Chief of Police
Very good.
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my ability.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Thank you so much.
Guys, stand there for a picture. The Kayla's gonna take a picture. Picture. Wait, guys, you guys.
What do I got? Please join us in the middle.
Everybody look at me. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Congratulations.
Oh, yeah. Good.
Probably just have to move the mouse.
I didn't do anything.
All right. So while the volunteer fire department is still here, I just want to acknowledge that our Rochelle Park Volunteer Fire Department continues to show what it means to serve our community. They give their time not just when the call comes in, but through the drills, the training, and the preparation that makes those responses possible. So on behalf of the Township Committee and our residents, thank you for your service and your sacrifice, and congratulations to each of you. Thank you. All right, at this time, I'm going to pass the microphone over to our first presentation of the night, Mr. David Refkin from Green Ridgewood. And I'd like to invite Mr. Refkin to come forward for this presentation.
Thank you.
Please.
Hold the button down. Look for screen.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Now,
No.
the green light is on. That's good. Okay. Hi, thanks for having me here tonight. David Refkin, I live in Ridgewood, and I serve as the chair of Green Ridgewood, which is the environmental committee that provides advice to our village council. And thank you for inviting me to be here. So, I think you all know we have a pretty serious flooding problem in this part of New Jersey, and I think it's time for us to be proactive and try to start dealing with it. So in Ridgewood, we had 3 serious floods, and I'm sure you had it here also in Rochelle Park, at the end of December of 23, January of 24, and then again in March of 24. And we decided it's time for us to do something about it instead of just keeping our fingers crossed. So what we did was we put together a set of 20 recommendations for our village council. One of them, which we'll talk about more, was to engage with Bergen County because the Saddle River does not know where Glen Rock ends and where Fairlawn begins, etc. So we went to the county. We did a study with Columbia University, with one of their graduate schools. We came up with a series of recommendations. We went to the county. We asked them to engage, and we didn't get too far. And it was kind of frustrating. So one day, I'm riding my bicycle along the pathway in the Saddle River County Park, which I'm sure many of you enjoy also, and it hit me. This park is owned by the county. They have to do something about it because they own this park. The river is, of course, controlled by DEP, but they had to do something. So we started a second study with Columbia University, and I'm going to talk about that today. I'm going to go through this relatively quickly because I'd like to talk more about what we can do moving forward to make a difference before the inevitable happens again, and hopefully not worse. And thank you, Sam. So we'll just go through a quick overview, what key findings were, and some of the flood mitigation efforts, what we can do, some of the flood risk analysis. There's serious financial implications, especially insurance-wise, safety and well-being, and then some ideas about how maybe we can deal with this. So if we go to the next one, this is the team from Columbia University. We had 11 students for 11 weeks, and we got a great amount of support from our professor who led the team. Next. So Green Ridgewood, I mentioned what our goal is, and those are 2 of my colleagues who work closely on this project with the Columbia students. I mean, we were on Zoom calls with them 2-3 times a week. We had them at the park. I used to remind them repeatedly that the Saddle River County Park is twice the size of Riverside Park across the street from Columbia. This is a really unique piece of land that we have here that is really important, and it's not being maintained as the way it should be. Next. So, a little bit of context. So, and I know you're familiar with this, and I'm sorry if your homes have been directly impacted by this, but we have had serious flooding, and some of these pictures are Sam's, by the way. We've had serious flooding throughout Bergen County, and I'm going to get to the headline in a minute, and you'll understand how serious a problem we are truly facing here. Actually, can you go back? If not, yes. So actually, there's the headline. There are over 3,000 counties in the United States. We are ranked #1 for most vulnerable county in the United States for flooding. Now, people look at me and they say, well, how could that be? It must be like New Orleans or Miami. The reality is we have a lot of homes, and we have a lot of valuable real estate right in the flood zone. If you go down Route 17, that's all the flood zone. And of course, when the Garden State Plaza was built in 1957, Sprout Run was kind of directed right into your town. So your town and Saddlebrook, both, a lot of the town is in the flood zone. Also, I should just mention another part of the reason why we're #1 is because out of 1,000 counties that were rated, we're number 703 for emergency preparedness. So a lot of the communities do a good job of trying, but because we have 70 towns in Bergen County, it makes it hard to coordinate. So of course, there's the park. You know, it starts up in Ridgewood and goes through, Glen Rock, Fairlawn, Paramus, Rochelle Park, Saddlebrook. It's an amazing place, and it's really a suburban oasis. It's overseen by the Bergen County Parks Department. There are 16 parks that Bergen County oversees. The park does not have a naturalist for its parks. The county has a budget for parks, not by individual parks, but just all the parks, and it has a capital budget for all the parks. There is not one person whose only job is to oversee those 577 acres. Frankly, our parks are dramatically underfunded compared to Morris County and Essex County, who have some really wonderful parks. Next. Okay, so this just provides a little context for those of you who can see this. I mean, The blue here is the 100-year flood zone, and that's really a misnomer, 100-year flood. What that really means is there's a 1% chance of any year of you having a very large flood. And then we have these 500 flood areas in orange. So you could see your community is right in the very serious area. And we're only getting bigger storms. We're getting more and more extreme weather. The 500-year flood used to be 8 inches of rain. Now it's 12 inches of rain. And, you know, North Plainfield, I believe, got 8 inches of rain just this summer. I can tell you, in Ridgewood, if we got 8 inches of rain, we'd be all underwater, and so would all the communities downstream. We were just lucky that that big storm was 30 miles south of us. Next. So our objective was, how do we transform the Saddle River County Park into a model of resilience and sustainability, and to provide recommendations? And I will tell you, as the study went on, it became clear it's just not about the park. It's about our 6 communities, and frankly, it's about all of Bergen County. And the recommendations included that. So we looked at, you know, the various pillars of sustainability: environmental, economic, social, and governance. And as part of this, they did a literature review. We made sure to interview people from all 6 towns that adjoin the river. We were very focused on this is a community-wide issue, and we interviewed 23 people. And I will tell you that your Assemblywoman Lisa Swain was a really big help in all of this process. Also, we looked at a lot of data, and then we came up with our key findings. So, if you go to the park and you go near the river, this is what you see. You see an ecosystem in collapse. We have rivers that have flooded, and all the tree roots are exposed, and if you walk there, you will just see trees collapsing all over the place. And it's just sad. It's very sad, because this is a special place, and that's just part of it. I mean, obviously, the streams go way out to the side because there's been so much silt that's come down. They destroy the pathways that are there. They destroy other wildlife that's there. And, you know, people go fishing here, they have picnics, they ride their bikes, they take their dogs, they play soccer. It's a great place, but it's not in good shape at all. It's actually really falling apart. Now, economic, and I don't want to depress anybody, but here are the facts. We're seeing insurance companies leave Bergen County. We're seeing people's insurance rates go skyrocketing. And we also have a situation where if you have to have flood insurance in your home and you can't get it privately, you go to the National Flood Insurance Program. If you have a flood in your house, the maximum amount you can get back is $250,000 if you get approved for all of that. And the likelihood of that is, frankly, decreasing every day. So let's say you buy a house for $600,000, you take out a $500,000 mortgage, you have a flood, the most you can back is $250,000. Who's going to pay for the other $250,000? What's going to happen is people are just going to leave their homes because they can't afford to rebuild their homes, because I don't know any home in Bergen County that can be rebuilt for $250,000. So at some point in time, the lenders are going to say, this is a very risky place to lend money to people to buy homes, and we don't want that to happen. We want to remain economically healthy. So we have this insurance problem, and we have a big insurance gap. I'll have a slide on that in a minute. Obviously, we have safety issues for people, and, you know, there have been floods where people in Lodi have died, and we obviously don't want that to happen again. There's a long deferred maintenance backlog at the park, and governance. How do we have a voice in the park? What is our voice in the park? Who do we talk to? How do we reach somebody? That's a real issue that we need to fix also. And then how do we, as a community, work together on solving these problems? Okay, so I won't go through this in a lot of detail, but the professor came up with a whole list of different solutions to minimize, not eliminate, minimize the flooding risk. We'll talk about detention basins, swales, riparian zone restoration, and wetland construction. But I'm going to go through this quickly. These pictures were taken in Saddle Brook at Otto Pele Park. And you can have detention basins so that you hold the water. When you get a big storm, you hold the water back so it doesn't, all the storm water doesn't show up at one point in time. You release it after you have flooding. And these can be natural, or these can be built detention basins. They did a lot of mapping and they actually proposed the areas where they should have detention basins, and this is in Saddle Brook, just on the sides of the proposed detention basins, right actually next to Ottopelli, the lake over there, because that's an area that floods a lot also. There's a lot of detail here. I'm taking a very high-level approach to this. Building stormwater swales, which are basically ways where water can sit. We have a few of these in Saddle Brook. We need more of them. Again, it slows down the stormwater runoff. There's no magic bullet to eliminate flooding. You have to do a lot of different things, and this is just one of the different things that you can do. But having more places for the water to go, because we get these much larger rainstorms than our systems were designed for. And again, yeah, we have suggestions about where you should actually put this. And, you know, a lot of this was, I mean, here's Garden State Plaza, you know, and here are you guys. Yep. So, there's a lot of, I think we'll see this later, I think there's 1,298 parcels in Rochelle Park that are in the flood zone. Riparian zones, that refers to the riverbanks. And right now they've been destroyed in a lot of the park. If you have vegetation there, it slows down the water, it absorbs more of the water. You have to fix those. That's this diagram over here explains how you can fix that. You get much more infiltration into the ground instead of going running into the river. And here are some suggestions about where to do this. This one is specifically in Glen Rock. All of these maps are interactive. You can do a lot of work with this. And then wetland construction. And this is a Grove Park, which is in Ridgewood, right before Glen Rock and Paramus, right where the Hohokus Brook and the Saddle River meet. And we just need more areas for all of this water to go. It has to go somewhere, and it's going on its own right now into various parks and other areas, and we should just set them up as wetlands so that they can absorb more rainfall. We're just getting more and more rain. I know we've been having a drought for the last 18, 19 months. It's hard to remember that. We are actually down about 30% in rainfall over the last year and a half. But we're seeing more and more extreme weather. So the floods will come, and they'll be bigger than ever. And again, suggestions on where they could be built and how to build them and what's the best place. And it's Grove Park and Pleasant Park, which is right next door to it. And this is a place that Sam told me about on the Saddle River. That's Fairlawn, yeah, where there's 2 homes that are close to falling into the river. And also, as you've been told me, there was a huge tree that went down right along that same area. We have reached out to the Bergen Record and NorthJersey.com, and they were with me, and they filmed this, and we did some media coverage for that. Okay, so here's the issue on the insurance gap. So in the 6 towns that adjoin the Saddle River County Park, there are $2 billion worth of property at risk. $7.2 billion. Of that, $4 billion is in Paramus, which is relevant for something we'll talk about in a minute. We've seen a 59% increase in flood insurance premiums. I believe that's over 5 years. However, the amount of insurance that we actually have compared to the risk is $29 billion of basically underinsurance. In the county as a whole, there are $72 billion worth of properties at risk. It's just mind-blowing. And here's the numbers by community. So you can see Rochelle Park has 1,298 parcels. I think that's total parcels. And the value of the property at risk in Rochelle Park is almost $500 million. There's that total of 7.2. You can see Paramus has 4 million, but given the size of especially Rochelle Park and Saddle Brook, there's a tremendous amount of risk. And I'm trying not to be alarmist. I know these are your homes. I'm just really trying to point out the reality and the urgency that we have to do something about this. There are ways to save money. Community rating system, which I believe you do have here in Rochelle Park, so that there's a way for people to lower their homeowners insurance. So there aren't too many communities doing it. Ridgewood does it, but I think we're the only 2 out of the 6 alongside the park. Okay, and then there's so many other issues here. It's how do we work with the parks? How do we manage investments? How do we get park personnel involved? And candidly, how do we get Bergen County to care and to provide the resources that we need? So, okay, so then we've put together, there's a whole series of recommendations here on how we should, on how we could move forward to manage this. There's a recommendation, let's go to the next one, Sam. There's a recommendation on developing a environmental living laboratory or laboratories, maybe in each town, so that young children, so that young adults can learn about these concepts. These have been very successful at museums. We should think about doing that. Let's go to the next one. But I would say most important is the idea that we work together to develop a task force or a consortium so that we have a voice in what happens to the park in the future, and also that we have a voice in how do we minimize the flooding risks that we have to people, property, and the costs that we're paying. So I think at this point, I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, we can skip through the funding mechanisms, yeah. Yeah, just go to the next one. Thanks. So this came out in August, and there was a whole plan here for creating a task force, setting up a consortium of 6 communities, and launching something called the Saddle River Trust. So what happened is we had a Zoom call at the end of August, and we had about 35, 40 people on, including 2 of the Bergen County Commissioners, to listen to something pretty similar to what you heard here, but in some more detail. That same day, as it turned out, the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection issued a potential grant of $10 million for up to 6 communities, 6 people who applied, to get roughly $1.7 million each to develop actual solutions to the flooding challenges that we face. It would be a series of consultants, some money for the community, some money for a community-based organization. So we saw this and we said, that's a great way to kind of do this. So we encouraged the county to apply because you needed to have a primary, and the primary needed to be somebody large like the county to do it. It took a little arm twisting from people in Trenton and from people like us and others, but they did apply for the grant. And as part of that, each one of the 6 communities, excluding Paramus, had to fill out an application also, and Rochelle Park filled out an application, as did Ridgewood, Glen Rock, Fairlawn, Saddlebrook, and Lodi. Why Paramus wasn't included, I have some theories about that, but they were excluded, which is really crazy because there's so much of the property at risk. So the application went in, and unfortunately, it was not approved. I found out last night that there were 2 communities, I think somewhere in Monmouth County and somewhere further south, that did get funding. However, there's going to be another funding cycle on the website for NJDEP right now. It says in early 2026 there will be another funding cycle. So why did we not get the grant? Why did Bergen County in its efforts fail? Well, we got a letter from NJDEP telling us what happened, and they cited 3 reasons for why we didn't get the grant. Number 1 was there weren't contiguous communities, which you were required to have in this grant. But what they were really saying was, why was Paramus not included? Because Paramus is the whole east side of the Saddle River. So, yeah, you could connect Ridgewood, Glen Rock, Fairlawn, Rochelle Park, well, Saddlebrook and Rochelle Park, but you're missing Paramus, which really made no sense at all. They also said that there was an inconsistency in the applications for what the challenges are. So, for example, some people talked about urban heat island. You know, when it gets hot in the summer, you'll hear that always Newark is the hottest spot because there's so much pavement. Well, there's a lot of pavement all over North Jersey. We all have urban heat island effects, and frankly, the biggest risk to people is heat, because people die from heat, especially when they lose their power. And the third thing that wasn't included, they said, was you haven't shown any work together as an entity. Now, frankly, we have. We've started that with the Columbia University process. That should have been mentioned. The insurance stuff wasn't mentioned in the application at all. There wasn't any mention, there was an inconsistency between the communities and what the threats were, which I mentioned, and Paramus wasn't included. I mean, frankly, county did not do a good job, and we didn't get the money. So now there's an opportunity to start again and do this right. So we have been trying to figure out what is the right thing to do and how do we make sure that we can start to address the challenges that we face in all of our communities, but frankly, especially here and in Saddlebrook, because you guys are the most under the gun in terms of flooding. We all get it, but, you know, I tell people, Ridgewood, you think you have a problem? And yeah, we do have a problem with Hocus Brook. It's nothing compared to what's happening further south. And then when I say that, I also think of Lodi, too. So what we are proposing is to arrange a meeting, which we're talking about doing on March 14th in Ridgewood. We'll host it, and we'd like to invite the 7 communities to be there. And I don't mean this any way negative to the political folks, so don't take it the wrong way, but we'd like to, at first, include people from environmental commissions, from green teams, or folks like us who advise village councils to come up with a plan to say, all right, let's redo the application, let's use all the expertise that we have in our towns. And I have to tell you, in the Columbia report, Dr. Degnan would keep on saying to me, there are so many talented people in these 6 communities that we need to have them involved as part of this process and use their knowledge base and their passion to deal with this. So we want to get the 7 communities together, figure out how we could redo this plan, this application, which according to the website is coming soon, and frankly, do it and then send it to Bergen County and just say, okay, here it is. We already did the work. And I have to tell you, Bergen County didn't have the right people to do it. They have well-meaning people, but they don't have people who understand what these issues are and challenges are. And the deputy mayor of Ridgewood and myself, we went there and said, we really want to work with you as part of this, and frankly, that didn't happen. You know, we've been so engaged in this issue for years, as have people like Sam and other people in communities, and we need to tap into all of that knowledge. We are also contemplating the idea that should we consider putting together something that other communities have done to help alleviate their problems, and that's to develop a watershed alliance of the key communities so that we have a voice, so that we are represented. And several communities in Passaic County just did this, and we've been kicking around the idea of something maybe called the Saddle River Watershed Alliance, so that the communities that are impacted by the river, they have a voice. We'll have to figure out funding, but that we can make sure that things get done. And I will tell you personally, I've gone to Hackensack 7 times, 4 times to speak to commissioners, to try to get them to act. It's been hard. A month ago, after the application didn't happen, I sent a letter to the top people in the county. I said, please, what is your strategy about flooding? Now that we didn't get this grant, that was supposed to be the solution, what's your strategy now? I have not received an answer. So I worry that we're going to have a big storm, we're going to have flooding, people may die, property is going to be destroyed, and people will say, why didn't we do something about this before? Because frankly, we know we're the #1 at-risk county in the United States. We have to deal with this. So as I said to the manager for Ridgewood, I said, it's time for us to play offense and to make things happen, because we just can't sit around and wait for the next crisis to happen, or somebody to say, okay, we'll have FEMA come in and you'll all get paid, and that'll take years and years and your lives will be messed up. And we don't want that. We want to be proactive and come up with real solutions. Questions? Yes. I've been in touch with, I've spoken to all 7 commissioners 4 times. I've talked to 3 or 4 of them. I've been in touch with Tom Dutch and with Ken Ehrenberg, thank you, and with other people there too, the deputy parks, the acting parks commissioner, and other folks.
We have a very good relationship with a lot of people in the county, especially in parks. I'd like to reach out to them on behalf with some of these photos and stuff.
So they've seen this, and
I have a different relationship with them.
I know.
So I will advocate as much as I can.
Mm-hmm.
And I will push this on my end as much as I can to get them to a meeting with you. If I have to personally go with them, I will get them to come.
Look, I think the more people from more towns that we can get together to make noise, we're more likely to succeed.
Well, there's certain people that are in that county that are related to other people in that county, so we can get them there.
Mm-hmm.
We have to band together and get them. And
Mhm.
we can start that with Ken Ehrenberg, Jeff Luna, who's in charge of parks.
Mm-hmm.
His brother is Scott Luna, the mayor of Lodi.
Mm-hmm.
So we will reach out to them and we will push them, get them here with you for the community. Especially the park, and the flooding part is gonna be a little hard, because I sat in meetings, Dean, you sat in that meeting with the mayors, and the DEP was there, and the Army Corps of Engineers.
Yep.
And we were pretty much told what to think, and they weren't gonna do anything.
Yep.
But I think reaching out on the county level first, with the parks, with them, is a starting point. And
We'd love to see some action. I mean, it's been very frustrating. And you just, you get excuses like, well, you're 70 towns and it's your problem. Well, no, it's not. These rivers don't know where one town ends and one town begins. So we have to deal with this.
Any other questions from any other members from the Township Committee? Sean?
I mean, not to do a humble brag here, I'm actually a property casualty insurance broker and an agent, so I kind of understand where you're coming from.
Mhm.
And if anybody wants to do any research, I would highly recommend you look into how hard it is to get homeowners insurance in Florida, because it's almost impossible due to flooding. What I would like to find out is, I think people look at flood mitigation, maybe look at it like it may not be aesthetically pleasing. I think, and a lot of the park is not being able to be used because, like you said, a lot of the trees have fallen. So I think maybe kind of the question maybe to ask is, by doing this stuff and helping mitigate flooding, how much would your home, the value of your home is only going to go through, if we do it now while we have the opportunity and being able to help mitigate flooding in the future, that's only going to improve our values of our homes going forward. I think it's really important where when this stuff happens, it not only opens up parts of the park that aren't open to us now, it also helps with going forward about the way our town looks and the way other towns look and how you can open up the park for bike routes and walking routes and stuff like that, where I don't think people are even looking beyond that. They're just kind of looking at it like mitigating the flood. But when you do that, how it opens up parts of the park for as a citizen, as somebody who lives in the town.
Yeah, it's a special place. I left the corporate world 15 years ago. I started consulting, and I can't tell you the value of getting out at 5:30 at the end of the day and just being in nature for an hour, and how wonderful that was.
Yeah.
And before I moved to Ridgewood, I actually checked out the park to see what it was like. So we want these places to be there for our kids, for our families, for us. They're so important.
Anybody else? Yes, Teresa.
Quick question, did you, or do you know of any history of prior flood mitigation that was done years ago to relieve any of this flooding in the area? Did they give you any information on that?
I'm trying to think. We heard some stories about things that were done, but it was hard to find anything official. There were dams along the Saddle River at one point in time. There was a dam in Hohokus. There was a dam in Ridgewood. Of course, there was industry, along those rivers, and that's another whole question. But I'm not aware of anything major. We have...
Excuse me, I'm sorry. Did they speak to you about anything about dredging of the rivers at any time?
So there was some dredging done in the past, yes. So the issue with dredging is, from what I've learned, I think this is right, is it helps short-term, but it doesn't help long-term. In 2 years, the sandbars start to form again, and you wind up with the same problem. And the rivers right now are there's so much silt buildup that the rivers just go sideways. So dredging helps to some extent, but it's kind of a lot of different solutions.
Are you also aware that there was a conversation with, what we had, with Cory Booker, getting with the Army Corps of Engineers with our flooding? That was done last year?
I know there's been conversations with the Army Corps. In Ridgewood, we have an agreement to have the Army Corps come in and do a study. I will tell you, for the last 9 months, we haven't heard a word. It kind of disappeared.
So maybe that could be followed up on also, because we did have a conversation. I think there was funding there that was offered. Sam's going, yes, right? You remember this, right? So,
Something I was about to ask. In fact, in May 2024, the Team Offshore Park got a confirmation from NJDEP that they approved and authorized it's called the reevaluation report, up to 50%. And in fact, what they are missing is the official request from U.S. Army Corps to start the reevaluation report.
so they haven't given you a date on it, but I know that we spoke, I was on the conversation with them.
So I've been trying to challenge the Bergen County management, or government, I should say, to push the U.S. Army Corps to send this application or this request to the NJDEP, and we never got any answer. We got an email from somebody at the NJDEP last year confirming that the funds are still available. There is no date of peremption to those funds. So if you know anyone at Bergen County who can help push U.S. Army Corps to start this regulation, that would be awesome. That's the first thing. And they would be the only one, I would say, empowered to dredge the river. So in the past, there was some dredging going on, and dredging does help with flooding. It has some limitation in terms of effect, but it's almost like a recurring maintenance that needs to be happening every so often. It's not a one-time solve-all solution. Yeah.
Because I grew up in this town, and I'm here over 60 years. I do remember the dredging of that because I'm right by the river. You know where I live, so. I do remember them doing every like 4-something years I can remember because they had big berms on the side. And we used to take our slids down and slide down. I don't know if Dean remembers this, but this was going, and then it just stopped. But I know we had a conversation of how much was funding last year.
If I may,
Yes, please.
So back on December 2nd of obviously 2025, I got an email directly from Senator Booker's office, and I'll just read it because it's brief. An update here: the Senate Energy and Water Bill text was released a few days ago, and it includes $500,000 for the lower Saddle River as requested and based off the Corps' capabilities for fiscal year 26. We will continue to keep you updated as we hope to see progress on a larger spending bill in Congress, but I wanted to make sure you had the update that this congressionally directed spending request is in a good spot right now. So I think following up obviously with our federal partners and seeing if that, making sure that $500K gets to the Army Corps of Engineers to complete the study, it's a big start.
And also the NJDP was funding up to 50%, but they were asking for the non-federal parties to fund the remaining. So I'm not sure exactly what they mean by the non-federal parties, but that's a question.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So, we should definitely do that, and the fact that your Assemblywoman is the chair of the Appropriations Committee in Trenton certainly doesn't hurt either. So I just want to clarify something I said before. So the plan has been that the environmental commissions, the green teams, et cetera, would meet in 3 weeks and put together a plan. And once that plan is done, then we would go to all the political leaders and say, okay, we put this together. How do you feel about this? Can you bless it? So we should probably have an offline conversation about what's the best time to go to Bergen County and to the commissioners and say, all right, and go to Tedesco and say it's time. So maybe we can follow up with that tomorrow. That's good.
Thank you, Mr. Refkin.
Thank you.
One more question.
And I'm going to open up to public as well, so go ahead.
Are there any other towns that we could help by reaching out to
Yes.
get involved?
Thank you. So I I've been talking with the Paramus Environmental Commission, which is a big step because the Paramus Environmental Commission, frankly, hadn't been doing too much. They have a new leader now. They're very energized, so that's great. I met last week with two people from the Glen Rock Environmental Commission, which was the second time I met with them. The only town, and I've been reaching out to Saddlebrook and to Fairlawn, the only town I don't really have a connection with is Lodi. So if there's people in Lodi we can talk to, that would be helpful.
Thank you.
Okay.
My question is, what's the future of the partnership with Columbia University? Where do they fit in regards to next steps?
So I've kept in touch with the professor. We may do another project with Columbia on something unrelated. This is pretty much, it's unlikely for this to continue, although one of the people I showed you before, she's a graduate of this school. So we do have an ability to go there and say, we'd like more work done on something.
Wonderful.
But they were great. They were really great to work with.
Great. So at this time, I'm going to open up public comment limited to the presentation we just heard from Mr. Refkin as well as Sam. So can I have a motion to open public comment limited to this presentation?
Motion.
Is that a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Okay, Committeewoman Apici?
Yes.
Committeewoman George Carvello?
Yes.
Committeeman Smith?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Cholinsky?
Yes.
Mayor Miller?
Yes. All right. Public comments now open. Please state your name and address for the record. You're limited to 5 minutes, and we'll do one speaker per speaking opportunity.
Thank you. My name is Charlie Greco. I live at 46 Peak Street, Rochelle Park. To start off, before I start my clock, could we have the full name and address of the second person that spoke? It's not officially on the record. It's only on the record as Sam.
Oh, yes. Sam, you want to state your full name?
Sam Gouverne, 26 Patton Court.
Thank you. Question for you, direct. I'm going to ask you a question. I'm going to tell you what I agree about, and I'm going to tell you everything else. Why isn't Paramus in there? Why do you said you have feelings about it? Tell us your feelings. Why do you think?
So, it's one of two things happened, is my understanding. One of two things happened. One is that the Paramus application, because each one of the communities had to do their own application, the Paramus application did not get there in time. That's a possibility. I've checked, that's a possibility. Look, I wasn't born yesterday. I mean, there could be political reasons why Paramus wasn't included also. People can draw their own conclusions. It was one of those two.
The other thing I should have said first, I'm wearing a fire department jacket, and I'm not speaking on behalf of the fire department. I'm speaking on behalf of myself and nobody else, just so that's out there clear. Okay, a couple of things you said are great, and I think the stuff you talked about with keeping the river area clear and stuff like that. I remember as a kid, when I had hair, you could walk through the park and you could see the other side of Saddlebrook and see back and forth. It's overgrown. I walk a lot, and I've walked in other parks, and they're a lot nicer than we have here. 110%, I agree with that. Now I'm going to go to the contractor end. Matt, you'll probably understand what I'm talking about. When I used to do drop ceilings in a big room like this, before they had laser levels, you got a big pond of water with a big tube, and you went around because the water seeks its own level. That's why a level always has water in it. Everything you're talking about is good for mitigation and making it happen. It's not going to fix what's happening in Rochelle Park. Don't get the people here to believe it's going to fix the thing here. Because water seeks its own level no matter what you do. If you're going to say it's coming in the brook or coming down the park, we're going to build these walls 10 feet high, guess what? It's going to find another way around that and equal its own level. When you have a street like Burdam Street over here, from end to end, it's probably 0.2 of a mile long, correct? And that's 8 feet deep with water. You're not going to do anything in Rochelle Park to fix that. It has to be fixed down where the Saddle River goes into the Passaic River. Because what happens, and I should give a little history here so that people don't understand what I'm talking about that don't know me. I've been on this fire department for a long time. Since 1999, every flood, which is Floyd, every flood we've had, I've either been here during the flood in the beginning or through the whole thing. If I was at my other job, I was there, and then I come here and be here for the whole thing throughout. So I know the flooding, I know what happens in town. We have rain stop in this town at 2 o'clock in the morning. And 6 o'clock in the morning, the water's still coming up. We can't fix that. It has to be fixed downstream. What happens is when the Saddle River goes into the Passaic River and it starts backing up, Wallington starts flooding. What happens is Wallington's people call up Lodi's people and say, hey, get ready, you're going to get hit. Then it comes up the line more, and then Lodi calls us and says, you're going to get hit. And guess what? There's nothing we could do. We could clean that park out all we want. We could do everything else. That is the last, it should have either been done 50 years ago, or it should be done 50 years from now. Right now, the effort has to begin to stop the water from building up. Because, Matt, what I said about that level, is that true? The water just equals a level all the time, correct? And that's what's going to happen if you don't stop the water from backing up. It backs up, it equals a level. All right? We've seen it in this town. We've seen we put 700 people out on boats at night. And I'm not saying what you're saying shouldn't be done. I think it should be done. But it either should be done before or after. What we're talking about doing it right now, there's better ways of spending the money. That's the way you're going to stop. You're going to fix it for this town. You could fix that park 110%, have more green areas, everything. It's not going to do anything. We get the runoff, and there's no place for it to go. You ever see a 5-car accident on the highway? The car in the middle, what do you think? Well, that poor sucker had no place to go. We are the car in the middle. There's no place for this poor sucker to go without fixing the car in front or stopping the car behind it. Plain and simple. And that's where the efforts need to go. Anything else is a complete waste of time. Thank you.
I think the problem was addressed multi-pronged, though. I think what Mr. Refkin was, and what that suggested was, there's areas upstream to slow the water down with, right? And so you're talking about upstream. We didn't talk about downstream, where the water dumps out, right? We didn't talk about it. And the other part of this, I think, has to do with state legislation with runoff, with commercial properties and runoff. You know, when I grew up and visited the Garden State Plaza, and I'm sure all of you know, it was an outdoor mall. It was a gravel out there. There was no macadam. There were no corrugated pipes 24 inch, and 24 inches going to the same Sprout Brook that runs through from point A to point B. 24-inch corrugated pipes from runoff that's collecting, that turn on like a faucet and fill that up like that, right? But I think it's a multifaceted problem, but I think the solution, some of the solutions that are presented, I think will definitely bring relief. Whether, you know, it's not all targeted into the park, but the park is definitely part of the solution, and getting everybody on board, the neighboring towns on the solution, and maybe reaching out downstream. I agree with you. Right? That's the first step. Well, you got to contact downstream. Let's knock on that door.
Anybody else? Yes, Mr. Davidson.
Do you mind if I sit, please?
Please.
Sir, I'm not sure if you're aware that I had set up a meeting with the county probably about 8 years ago, if not even a little bit longer. I'm starting to lose track of the time. But we had all the towns from Ridgewood all the way to Wallington there. Prior to that meeting, through the assistance of the police department, I was able to get a drone up and actually fly the drone over the river, which we utilized. And also the county wound up doing it as well. So that this way here gave us a good idea what was going on or what the conditions are for now. I know that we can get those records back. I have, the engineer wrote all the reports on that. I don't know, Dean, whether or not you've seen them or not.
Yeah, if you don't mind there?
Please.
So yeah, it was 2020, Bob. It was my first official action, or your request is when I first made chief, we had Lieutenant Kukowski drive that. We actually had shared that with Senator Booker's office, that report, the letter from the Boswell engineer at the time. Mike,
but we also had Ken Job was the engineer prior to that, when we had the meeting with the county. I'm sure I can either you can get it through the records that are here, or we can get them through Ken himself. The other thing is, I have to agree, Charlie. I mean, I go back, quite frankly, to the election day back in the 70s. I forget exactly what year that was. 77. Okay, so I go back to 77 as far as flooding is concerned. I worked each one and every one of them since, other than one when I was not in town. But so I've had quite an experience myself, and one of the things you really have to understand and take a look at is where the Jason Town apartments are in Wallington. That is the major issue If that is not, and I don't know how you correct that. It basically turns the whole river back. And that's where you get a lot of back, where it all falls back into Wellington. So, one of the things that they also was able to come across at this meeting is that a lot of the properties in Lodi, that a lot of the businesses and so forth were encroaching onto the properties, and I don't think that's ever been corrected. So there's a lot of things that need to be done just to try to help a little bit. Now, I had the experience being out in the desert. I lived in the desert for a couple of years, and I found it to be very interesting because I actually was able to watch what they wound up doing out there with the mountains, with the water coming in, going into the various communities, and how they built their spillways. It was extremely interesting, and it really it's a wonderful idea. But we can't do that here. We're too flat. So you can put all the spillways you want here. First of all, it's not going to do a thing. I wish it could, but it's not going to do it. And to be honest with you, there's only one way to correct this, and it's not a pleasant one, and that's through Blue Acres, and where we built in the flood zones. That's the problem. I mean, it's the reality that homes were built where they should not have been built, quite frankly, and everything else you're just trying to mask it. I'm sorry to say it, but I'd be more than happy to work with you. If you wanted me to, I'd be more than happy to do that. And I'm not a naysayer. I definitely would love to be able to see something that's done correctly. But I also am a realist, and I understand. Very unfortunate, and believe me, I've worked really hard with the town here throughout the years to try to correct, to do whatever I can possibly do. We had the meeting with the county. I actually had Mr. Tedesco on the phone. I promise you the world. I'm sorry. All these people, they promise you, and get nothing done. Studies on all that is all you're doing is funneling money to these various companies, and you're wasting your money. I hate to say it, but I've seen it over and over again. There was a bike path was supposed to be done, a multi-million-dollar project, okay? All the money went to the engineers. Never got built.
We found that study from 2015.
Yeah. It's over and over again. All it is this is just how they fund their people so that this way here they get reelected. Sorry about it.
Thank you, Mr. Davidson. Anybody else from the public? Hearing or seeing no one, do I have a motion to close public comment?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Committeewoman Apici?
Yes.
Committeewoman Judge Covello?
Yes.
Committeeman Smith?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Jaworski?
Yes.
Mayor Miller?
Yes. Thank you, Ms. Ruffin. Before you go, I just want to give you the opportunity to restate the objective that you outlined in your presentation. Is your goal to find a magic wand and make flooding disappear in Bergen County entirely? You can use that mic, actually, that's right in front of you as well.
On the bottom.
Is that working? Yes. Okay. So, I wish I had a magic wand, but I don't. I mean, this to make, and we're never going to eliminate flooding risk. We can try to minimize it as best we can. That may be only 10%. I hope it's a lot more than 10%, but there's a lot of steps we can take. What we're trying to do is to make action happen, because we are the #1 at-risk county in the United States. We can't sit around and just wait for the inevitable to happen. So the vision is, or has been, we will play offense. We will get the 7 communities together. We will work together to put together a new, much stronger application. We have filed with Oprah to find out who won and why they won, what was in their application and what was successful, so we can learn from that. And, frankly, there's well-meaning people at the county, but they put together a lousy application. And we will hand them a much stronger application, because it still needs to be the county as the prime, and hand them this application. But then I believe long-term, these communities should work together to make sure that this isn't a one-off. We have a voice, we have an organization, and we can be listened to, instead of, every now and then we get somebody's attention when there's a big flood. We have to have a regular, steady voice.
Thank you so much, Mr. Refkin. Anyone else from the Township Committee? We look forward to collaborating with you and your organization, and hope to see you in the near future.
Great, thanks
Thank
for
you
the
so much for
opportunity,
your
and
presentation.
we look forward to working together.
Absolutely. Thank
you.
you so much. All right. Next up, we have a presentation from Fire Prevention, a budget presentation. Sean, you want to come on down? You can take a seat right here, yeah.
I have copies if you want them.
Sure, that'd be great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good name.
Bear with me, I never had to do one of these.
Make sure that everybody on the base.
There we go. Bear with me, I've never had to do one of these before. So I'm representing the Bureau of Fire Code Enforcement to our operating budget requests. I'll just walk through my worksheet. I gave you a copy of what worked well, needs to consider, and our new priorities to outline the new year. So our funds last year support a prompt investigation of all fire code related complaints, violation issuance, and post-fire investigations. All of our operating was kept within budget, actually under budget, and we had no emergency overages. Needs to consider for the upcoming year wasn't really applicable. I couldn't think of a whole lot because my budget in the grand scheme of things is quite small. The only thing I could consider towards the end of the year, I had to make a couple of purchases that would have normally come out of my operating, out of my penalty trust account, only because I know we had financial constraints towards the end of the year last year. So I probably would have used up the entirety of my O&E. I spent about $9,800 last year. I probably would have, spent that extra $6,000 towards the latter half of the year, but it ultimately was a non-issue for me. New priorities for the year. Budget will be allocated for inspection tools, personal protective equipment. Field equipment we have is either non-existent or significantly aging and nearing its replacement. One of my big plans for the year is to restore fire safety education in Midland School. So some of my budget will be used to purchase age-appropriate materials to coincide with that. And I know one of my other projects I started last year, wasn't able to finish, was I'm re-lettering my Ford Explorer. I have the decal, I just need to labor to install that. And that would, to my knowledge, I believe Fire Prevention's always had approximately a $15,000 O&E. I'm not seeking anything additional.
Thank you so much, Sean. Any questions from the Township Committee? Go ahead, Teresa.
I have no questions.
Sean,
Confuses me too.
No, exactly. Sorry, Sean. Good name.
Sean, I have a question.
Sure.
You have requested the 15
Yes,
again for this year.
correct.
Am I misunderstanding my understanding that it's supposed to be kind of self-sufficient, self-funding on this with your penalties?
I've been honestly, I'm trying to figure a lot of this out myself as, stepping in about a year. I'm not sure where the $15,000 O&E we get is allocated from. I know we intake, I'm not sure where the operating expenses for the year, where that's funded from. I'm not entirely sure. I know we intake a significant amount in our annual registrations, permits, that offsets my salary obligations. And to my knowledge, offsets, I'll say 98% of my operating. I'm just not 100% sure. I know my penalties are put in a trust account. It can only be used for fire prevention related expenditures. Basically, a very wide swath with everything except salaries and wages I can use that for.
Okay, so some of this on here are for some equipment that you're looking for?
It can be purchased out of there if it needs to be.
Okay, and is there a fund balance on that right now? Do you have a balance on it?
About $13,000.
I'm sorry?
About $13,000.
In which account?
My 212A trust account, my penalty account,
Your penalty account
Yes.
is 12,000,
13,
13,000?
ballpark.
Sorry?
Well, that's a ballpark number. It's probably some 13 and some.
I'm getting echoes, that's why I'm sorry.
No, it's about 13,000, yeah.
13 that you have left in it.
Yeah, that's a revolving fund, so as I issue fire code related penalties, they're either settled, negotiated, reduced, whatever the case may be. Half of it goes to the fire department, half of it's retained by the Bureau.
So, okay, so half of it goes to the fire department?
Correct.
Why?
That's just the way the state fire code's written.
That's-
So if I write Teresa's Bagel Shop, I have to go back 6 times, say I write you a $1,000 fire code penalty.
That's the state requirement?
That's a state requirement, yes.
Okay, that's a statute.
That's a state statute, yes.
Gotcha, okay. I'm just asking.
No, yeah,
because I'm
it's a
not
state
familiar with
statute,
it,
yep.
but, so half of that goes to the fire department,
Correct.
and then you keep the other half to use for whatever you need.
It's, the best way I can describe it is a rainy day fund, and I hate to use that term. If I need to purchase a vehicle, that's primarily what that fund would be used for. If I need to purchase something a little, the vehicle really would be the big one I could think of. Or if, we need a really expensive new tool. We wanted a drone last year, or 2 years ago. We need a new investigation camera. It's something that fund would be used for.
I do remember, and I don't know what funds would come out of, but I do remember, going back. There was a numbering needed for the outside of the rooms, the outside of the building, middle and school. So God forbid there was a fire, they could pinpoint whatever it is. And I believe at that time the fire official helped the school out with that. I don't know if that could come out of this funding too.
It absolutely can. Yeah, I have a very wide discretion on what to use it for. The language the code reads is fire prevention related interests.
Okay.
The only thing I can't use is for salaries and wages. That's the only,
So this 15,000 that you're asking for, you already have 13,000 there.
yes, I do. I would like to not to use that as my operating for the year, only because I know my one Explorer is about 13, 14 years old. Not that it has a lot of miles, but it will be reaching its replacement cycle in the next 5 to 7 years.
And that's for your inspectors to go out.
Correct. That's their transportation.
Okay. Thank you, Sean.
You're welcome.
I know you've done a lot of work this year.
I tried.
Kind of catching up on things.
No, I've tried.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Of course.
Thank you. Anyone else from the Township Committee? Dean, did you want to mention anything? I heard you. Okay. All right. Wonderful. All right. Thank you so much, Sean. We really appreciate your presentation and for coming here tonight.
Thanks, Sean.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sean.
All right. Coming up next, Chief Greco with the Volunteer Fire Department budget presentation.
As compared to Sean, I didn't make additional copies of my phone.
No problem at all.
For the volunteer fire department, unlike some fire prevention building department and such, we don't have any opportunity to be self-sufficient. We don't get any registration, permit, violation fees. Nothing comes into us. We rely solely on the allotted budget from the Township Committee. In 2025, we were allotted $100,000 for our operating budget, and we're asking for an increase of $15,000, a variance to $115,000 for 2026. Some of our major expenses last year were apparatus maintenance and repairs, was about $32,000, and that was a fairly good year, all things considering. We didn't have any major breakdowns. Hoping we can continue that trend, but that's not a very foreseeable endeavor. Our annual equipment testing was about $12,500. Our annual software renewal was $10,000, and equipment maintenance and repairs was $6,500. Moving forward next year, or this year rather, as with most things in the world today, we're expecting an increase in all of our annual fees, testing-related fees, as well as repair costs for any equipment. Another big thing to consider is by the end of the summer, our SCBA units will all be out of warranty. So any repair costs for that will now be coming out of our budget instead of being covered by warranty.
What was that? I'm sorry?
The SCBA units are air tanks.
Air tanks.
They will they've all been under warranty for the past 5 years as they were purchased. But by the end of I believe it's end of July or end of August, they will all be out of warranty. They're still in good condition, they're still working fine, but any repairs needed to them now would be a budgeted expense.
Can you extend that warranty, Mr. Greco?
No, they don't have any extended
They don't have
warranty. The new units that they've come out with now are lifetime warranty, but that is a very large purchase to replace.
That's a lot.
Yeah, unfortunately, the new ones are not fully compatible with our current ones. So for us to replace, we would have to replace the entire alignment in one set. We can't do it little by little.
Would you also then have to do some kind of readjusting to replace the air in the tanks from the, what was it, from the rescue or something when you have to replace the air?
So we would have to replace all the regulators, all the fittings on all the fill stations, both in-house and on the rescue truck. We would have to modify some of the bracketing that hold the units in the rigs, as well as potentially new masks in coming years after that.
Thank you.
We will be looking into grant opportunities this year, but unfortunately, we can't guarantee any. And in the last few years, we have not had a substantial amount of luck with our grants. We did receive one state-funded grant last year, or 2 years ago rather, I'm sorry. But other than that, we haven't been lucky enough to get too many other grants in. So ultimately, we do rely solely on an operating budget from the committee.
Thank you. Any further questions for Chief Greco?
Mr. Greco, how old are the, I'm sorry.
No.
The apparatus that you have now, the trucks, give them an age.
The oldest apparatus is from 1997, and she's showing her wear and tears.
Which one is that?
That's engine 2. And then from there, the rescue truck is a 2008, the ladder truck is a 2012, and engine 1 is a 2018.
And the
We
mileage?
also have 2 marine units, the boats. The one boat is a 2002. The other, I believe, is a 2010, but don't quote me on that one. I'll have to double check and get back to you on that.
I appreciate that. So the which one did you say is showing wear and tear, the engine?
The one engine is starting to show its age, yeah.
What year is that? That was in
97.
97.
And why do we have Elmwood Park's piece of apparatus?
We're currently borrowing on the Parks rig because our 97 is out of service, waiting on repair quotes.
How long does the average fire truck with the 1997, how long do those usually last, just on average?
The NFPA gives them a lifespan of 25 years, so we are right over that right now.
Got it. Thank you.
Right, but the mileage on that is a little bit lower than what the recommendation of that is. Isn't that correct? Is the mileage low enough?
I don't believe they have a mileage cap in their standards.
What is mileage on it, do you know?
Well, again, I do not, but I can find out.
I'm just curious. I mean, this is 1997, so it's been a while.
I off the top of my head, I really don't know.
No, I understand. I understand. So
I
there's
can't get that
4
information.
apparatuses that you're talking about, just with the vehicles themselves. Am I understanding that?
We have 4 fire apparatus,
Engine
2
rescue,
boats, and 2 command vehicles.
and also the fire gear that you're using. Just give me a ballpark of one outfit of firefighter.
To outfit one firefighter in turnout gear, not counting a SCBA air pack, is about $6,000
For one.
for one set.
Is there a statute that has to be changed so many years that they have to change it out?
10 years.
Thank you. Are there due? Are there any due this year?
We keep that on a rotating basis. We replace 4 to 5 sets a year. That way we don't incur a major bump at one time. So every year we replace 4 to 5 sets a year.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Could you go, I was trying to get the numbers on the last year's budget. You started out with 32,000 in repairs, apparatus repairs. I'm assuming that's engines and vehicles, running vehicles.
Yeah.
And 12.5 was, what was that for?
12.5 was our annual testing. So that's our pump tests have to be done every year. The pumps have to be tested to a certain standard. Our hose all has to get pressure tested. The ground ladders, the aerial ladder all has to be tested yearly. Our gas meters have to be tested and calibrated quarterly. So that all comes into that amount.
Okay, so outside agency testing, right?
Yes.
And then 6.5 was equipment repairs. What kind of stuff is that?
Equipment repairs, it covers, when the saws have to go up and be repaired, if they're not running properly, they need to be sent for, service. Any of the other equipment that needs to be maintained when we have
Man tools, like
the hearse tools, the rescue tools on the rig, they have to get serviced yearly. That all goes into the equipment service. Any repairs that need to be done to any of that. We have to replace any aging equipment. We had a pipe pole break last year. We had to replace that. That all comes out of the equipment replacement maintenance.
After that, what was the other? I didn't get the other ones after this.
The other ones are annual softwares. Last year was $10,000 for our annual software, which is the reporting system. We use all of our incidents get reported and documented to the state. The Division of Fire and Safety keeps record of every incident we run to.
That's a annual fee.
Yes.
And
An annual fee.
after that, did you have anything after that?
That was all of the numbers that I was able to come through.
Was there a surplus or a balance left on that from the 100,000 last year?
That would not be full spend. Everything else then was upgrades to equipment that we purchased throughout the course of the year. I believe at the end of last year, we were right about 92,000 spent of the 100,000 allotted.
Okay.
And that's just off the top of my head, so I may be a little off on that figure.
When you say equipment, you're talking about, again, truck.
Equipment could be any of these tools that we have on the rig, flashlights, saws, axes, hallions, all of our little odds and ends equipment.
You get replaced yearly, or you get,
Most of that has a pretty good lifespan. As we see aging and wear and tear on it, we replace it.
okay.
There's no set standard to it, though.
Okay. I think that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Smith?
Yeah, do you have an estimate, I'm not putting you on the spot here, as far as the truck that's in the shop right now? Do we know what that's gonna cost to be repaired? Because I know you're borrowing one from Elmwood Park right now, so I would like, just to find out, it's the one from 1997, what is that
I think
gonna
it's
cost?
getting estimates, I think.
We're in the process of getting estimates right now. One vendor gave us an off-the-cuff of upwards of $30,000, but we don't have any concrete yet. I'm waiting on two vendors to come and examine it to give us proper quotes.
And how much would a used truck like that cost, or a new truck like that cost?
A new truck right now is ballpark about $1 million, anywhere between $900,000 and $1 million.
Wow, okay. Thank you.
Mr. Greco, one more
Through
thing.
chair?
Miss-
Yeah, go ahead. Real quick, the quote for the damage, what is it? It's a failure of the tank on that engine?
Yes, the water tank has cracked and it's not maintaining its force.
Okay. What's it made of, the tank?
It's a steel tank.
Steel tank, not stainless? I don't believe so. Not 1997.
A flexo shield? Come on, a little friggin'.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Teresa.
Thank
Put that commercial to the test, no? Get it bought over here.
Chief Greco, estimate of how many calls you did last year?
Last year, we finished the year about 340 calls.
That was rescue calls, every other kind of call, that's a total?
Yeah, it was all.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else for Chief Greco? Wonderful. Thank you so much for the presentation. Very informative. We really appreciate you coming tonight. Thank you.
If you have any other questions, you have to find me.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Chief.
All right. Our last budget presentation is from our courts. So our court administrator, Patricia Grotkowski. Please join us.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Patricia Grotkowski, and I'm a court administrator representing the court. So I'm here to present our 2026 budget proposal request for the amount of $203,000, which includes personal and salaries, any necessary operating expenses such as interpreting services, office supplies, postage, and to print e-tickets. I just want to make a note that our 2026 revenue was higher by 27.5% by our Yes, I am so sorry. So yeah, our revenue for the year of 2025 was higher by 27.5% compared to 2024. Yeah.
Thank you. Do you know, of that, $200,000 number, what is the OE, request? The operating expenses for the court?
Around 25,000.
25,000. And what was, do you know the number off the top of your head, what it was last year?
I don't remember exactly, but I think it was like 175.
So with that's what salaries. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Any questions from the Township Committee? Wonderful. Thank you so much for that information. We really appreciate it. All right. Moving right along. Any discussion? Any correspondence?
Yes, Mayor, we have one. We have one piece of correspondence. It's a letter of commendation for the police department, if I may, Mayor.
Please.
Okay. It was a lengthy letter, so I will read a summary into the record. The writer expressed sincere gratitude to the Rochelle Park Police Department, particularly Detective Nick, for his professionalism and compassion while she reported years of abuse. She highlighted Detective Nick's calm, respectful approach, his support during a difficult Special Victims Unit interview, and his continued follow-up, including informing her of the suspect's arrest. And I'll go ahead and I'll read the last two paragraphs. So it's the letter. Detective Nick exemplifies what law enforcement should be at its very best. His actions reflect not only his own character, but also the standards, leadership, and values of the Rochelle Park Police Department as a whole. Your town should be deeply proud to have officers who lead with both strength and compassion when it matters most. Thank you for fostering a department that treats victims with seriousness, respect, and humanity. I will never forget the professionalism and care shown to me within your walls. And that's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gina, and thank you, Detective Nick, for his constant support and professionalism.
Nick's last name, please?
It's McCroom, right?
McCroom.
Wonderful.
I read that letter, and I was talking to Dean before. It makes you really proud to know that someone like that works for this police department. It was choked me up reading it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. All right. Approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda tonight?
Motion?
Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Committeewoman Apici? Yes. Committeewoman Judge Covello?
Yes.
Committeeman Smith?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Chewinski?
Yes.
Mayor Miller?
Yes. All right. Reports. Let's go to this side. Jen, would you like to start?
No.
So Jen?
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay. The volunteer fire department, the month of January, had a total of 32 calls, 10 mutual aid calls. On January 1st, 2026, the Primus Fire Department requested Rochelle Park Fire Department Engine 2 to respond to a working fire in their town. Rochelle Park responded and was put to work. We were assigned with checking hot spots for the overhaul. So that's for the fire department. OEM, they had a recent OEM reorganization and planning meeting and tabletop exercise. I unfortunately couldn't attend because I was sick, but I'd like to thank everyone who did attend, especially our OEM coordinator, Pete Donatello, and the emergency management team for organizing a productive and well-received session. I understand that it was a valuable and informative exercise. The meeting covered life safety priorities, staff role confirmations, emergency contact updates, flood preparedness initiatives, register ready updates, and prophylaxis distribution plan, emergency operations, plan review, races coordination, and planning for the future of special events in town, including FIFA and the World Cup tabletop exercise. The department reports were also provided by the police department, fire department, DPW, our CERT team, administration, fire prevention, crisis response, building, Midland School, EMS, and health. That's that for OEM. For the Boy Scouts,
The Boy Scouts will be hosting their annual spaghetti dinner and tricky tray on March 21st at the American Legion. The tickets are $10 for adults, $5 for children if purchased in advance. Day of the event, tickets will be $12 for the adults and $6 for children. Seating times are 2:30 to 4 p.m., 4:30 to 6 p.m., so there's 2 seatings. And to please contact Diane Verhaslet for tickets. Sorry, Diane. The veterans, it's that time of year again. The Hometown Hero Banner Program is open for enrollment from February 16th through March 30th. They're accepting new applications from anyone interested in participating in the program. The cost of each banner is $225, which guarantees the display for 3 years. And they said to please note that due to normal wear and tear, they can only guarantee the banner for this 3-year period. If you're interested or would like additional information, please contact the Commander, Dennis Duddy. That's it for me.
Thank you, Jen.
Thank you.
Matt, take it away.
Last week, I believe Collier's Engineering was out to see our existing pump station. The only update that I'm aware of is that they did the on-site conditions assessment of the pump station, of the structure. And while some features are still in working condition, others are not. They're aware of that. Their specialists are reviewing the data and will be able to provide a preliminary report by this Friday. So we don't have any full information yet, but they're working on it. They're getting back to us. With regards to Matthews Field, for those of you who don't know, the field house is under construction. We've been working hard at getting the carpets up, the floor down, preparations being made, found a couple little goodies on the floor, and we're getting there. We're making progress. Hopefully targeting for opening day for baseball that place will be redone to complement what's been done by the field. Hats off to Dean for getting the grant for the field, which is covering the cost also of that renovation on that at Matthews Field house. Regarding Midland School, they're under a serious search for a new superintendent. In the meantime, they have an interim, but they are hot on the prowl. I did see police activity there today. Was there police activity there today? And I'm aware of, all right. I was not aware of, no? Can't talk about, we can't talk about the police cars I saw outside today, but they were.
Talking about students, you know,
over there. All right. In any case, thank you all, and that's all I have for now.
Thank you, Matt. Sean?
All right, thank you, Mayor. Now, for Rec is having their inaugural Family Day, which is this February 28th. I contacted Mark a couple of weeks ago, finding out if we needed any more sign-ups and seeing how everything was going. It was sold out. 75 families, pre-K to 3rd grade. It looks like it's going to be a really great event, so kudos to Rec on that. Egg Hunt, Carlock, will be 3/28, March 28th at 10:30 a.m. Make sure you're there for that. Rochelle Park Day will be May 16th this year. So make sure you put that in your calendar as well. Baseball registration closes March 15th. Please sign up right away. Please do not wait for the last minute because it's really important for them to get a good head count so they're able to disperse the teams and make sure that, you know, it just makes things a lot easier. Basketball is doing great, although my team is 1-3. I know. We won the championship last year. We can't win it all the time. Yes, it's coaching. Anyway. So yeah, thank you, Coach Scott Serenday, who's actually my coach is with me. He's been, today we had practice, so thank you, Scott. And yeah, it's been really great. Thank you, Midland School, because we only have one gym in this town. Midland School has been fantastic about opening up, so thank you, Midland School, for helping us with basketball. Access for All. Walter's over there. We need volunteers. It's an incredibly fantastic organization. Walter does a lot of great work. If you've ever been at any Rochelle Park, you know, event, you'll see the signs there for access. Again, it's really, I can't say enough about it, all the stuff Walter does. So really, really, you know, appreciate Walter's work. And the The meeting will be on Wednesday, a week from today, at the senior center. So please show up, and 5 to 10 hours a year. I think every Rochelle Park resident should volunteer 5 to 10 hours for the year to their community. It's not a big deal. Yeah?
The 2025 volunteer.
Yes, make sure, yes, sign up. Yeah. No.
250.
Oh, that's what's going right now. So America 250. I was talking to Michaela and Jen and everybody on here. We're all hands on deck. I would like to have a meeting by the end of the month. I realize that we're cutting it close right now, but I'm going to talk to Michaela after this, and we want to make sure that we have just an initial meeting, because I think this is a really important year. I think we really, to celebrate 250 years of this country is really important. There's going to be a lot of events going on all over Bergen County and all over the country. So I think it's really important to get on board. And I'm looking for all sorts of ideas. So I will keep you all in the loop. And, thank you. Thank you, Teresa. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sean. Go ahead, Teresa.
Thank you very much. Well, let me just start off with the health and safety. I don't know, can you hear me? Health and safety. So it came to Dave Brown's attention, from what I understand, that there were 6 Canadian geese that were found deceased in the county park. We were alerted on it. Animal Control confirmed that the cause of death was most likely the bird flu. So if you see any dead birds, don't touch them. We don't want to touch any of those. So I guess we'll just keep an eye. I believe they're going to try to keep an eye on all that stuff, right? All right, the seniors had their meeting last Thursday. It was a Valentine's Day theme. It was very enjoyable. A wonderful singer was there. The chief, also Lieutenant Kukowski and Captain DePretta came, spoke with the seniors about senior scams that seem to be popping up, and they gave a good explanation on that. And also, it was the chief brought up about crossing guards. We're in desperate need of crossing guards. So anybody who wants to be a crossing guard, they can see the police department, right, Chief? They can come over to you.
Correct. We actually did get one applicant as a result of that, so I'm glad we swung through there.
That's great, because we do need
We could use
backup.
more. We could always use more.
Well, I think there's substitutes you need too, right?
Correct.
So that was good. I'm glad they came in and spoke about that. And also the scams. If you think you're being scammed for any reason, whether young or old, contact the police department and they'll tell you, this is true or this is not, because it seems to be getting worse and worse, and they seem to be targeting seniors a lot more. And I believe that was said by Captain DePretta. So that's the part of it. The next meeting is on the March 5th for the seniors at 1 p.m. Library meeting was held February 9th. There's going to be a program held this Sunday, February 22nd, and it's hands-on with it's food making, with making smoothies. It's for kids ages 5 through 13. I'd still like to know how to make a great smoothie, so show up. There's also story time twice a week, on Saturday at 10:30 and Tuesday at 10:30. And Thursday is drop-in tech tutor at 12 p.m. For anybody that's not tech savvy, that would be myself. And I'm going to report from the police department, and this is for the month of January. The police department answered 1,418 calls of service, 54 motor vehicle crashes, 115 EMS calls, 274 motor vehicle stops, 11 arrests, 16 criminal charges, and 595 summonses issued. The police department has worked alongside the DPW during the past big storm we had, helping them safely plow the streets by getting the residents to remove their cars and basketball hoops from roadways, and enforcing the ordinance against throwing snow in the streets, which seemed to be a little bit a major problem that was going on. We had in January some of the department members qualifications for their rifles, including the new SLEO had to make sure they're qualified for those. Detective Bureau was directly involved and assisted Bergen County Prosecutor's Office in several investigations that culminated from criminal arrests, including 11 illegal firearms possession and aggravated sexual assault that took place in Rochelle Park. Administratively, the department is preparing for the World Cup, possible pop-up parties and large crowds that come with those. They're also meeting with other departments within the county to work together with that. We're also looking ready to move forward, or they're asking to move forward with the replacement of a recently retired lieutenant. Hopefully we can work on that, be able to start progress of working on that, and discuss with the Township Committee, and to continue to provide the high level of services for our residents that have become accustomed to. Now, on a sad note, I was notified by the chief this morning that Officer Mike Gallagher passed away this morning. He was a retired police officer for 20 years. Chief, would you like to talk a little bit more about
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, Michael was hired back in 1996. I actually know Michael from being a kid. Mike was a heck of a wrestler, even a tougher football player, tough fullback, one of the toughest that you could have. Michael decided to move down to Washington, D.C., where he started his career with the Metropolitan PD. Then came back up here. He was hired as a dispatcher by us, and then eventually went through the police academy. And retired in 2013 after spending his entire career in the patrol division as well as our motorcycle unit. Mike will be missed dearly. He unfortunately, his body gave into a long-term illness that he was suffering from.
Thank you. So, I remember Michael with his two brothers as children years ago, and I know they lost their mother a few years ago. I hope I speak for the council when I say that our thoughts and prayers are with the Gallagher family during this difficult time. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you so much. My reports. So I just want to start by saying I know this is Dean's last meeting as administrator, and I want to thank him on behalf of all of us up here for his service in this role. He's put a lot into this job, and I appreciate his leadership and support over the past 4 years. And I know every employee at Town Hall, every volunteer, every department head, and every member of this governing body and previous ones likely has a story of calling Dean with a problem or a question and him helping it sort it out with patience, professionalism, and a quick response. And I also know that after March 1st, even if any of us reach out to Dean with a question or in need of a quick reminder, Dean's still going to pick up the phone and answer with the same professionalism and diligence he always has. And I know he's going to support his successor in this role and want her to succeed because that's the kind of leader Dean is. So thank you so much, Dean. Administrator reports.
I'm ill prepared. Just briefly, Mayor, want to touch on some of the things that you're going to be voting on real soon. Most importantly, the open space grant that's referred to as in a resolution, that's for the dog park. I just want to pass along that the application period for the next fiscal year, or this fiscal year's open space grant applications a letter of intent needs to be sent by the middle to late March. I did speak to Gina about that. I'm going to ask this committee to come up with some ideas, thoughts, where you'd like to see, if any, so that way when Samantha comes on board, she's, has some ideas of what to send to the county. And again, thank you everybody for the opportunity to serve in that regard. I always put RP first, never DP, and I will continue to do that in my coming months and years that I have left. So thank you.
Thank you so much. It's not goodbye, it's see you down the hall. Appreciate it.
May I ask the chief?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Did we not receive a very large check today, Chief?
Yes, we did. So, and it was probably received the other day. I being off on day Tuesday. But yeah, so we've continued to receive the checks, Bob. It's the MOU with the Garden State Plaza to Westfield, created way back when, long time ago. We received that check again. We get that every year. It's money given to the township by the ownership of the Garden State Plaza for the inconvenience caused to this municipality by having such a large lawn when they expanded. And, that was received and will be deposited by the finance, if not already done.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. Clerk.
Just briefly, Mayor, I don't have any reports relating to the Township Clerk's office, but I do want to thank Administrator Pinto for he played a instrumental role in my smooth transition here when I first came on as a township clerk, and he has been such a great support. And we look forward to working with him as the police chief and welcoming his successor and continuing the successes we've seen with our administrative team. That's all.
Well said. Thank you so much, Gina. Attorney report, John.
No, just joining Gina's comments. It was a pleasure working with Dean as in his capacity as both the chief and the administrator. And I think that we were able to accomplish a lot during the tenure together.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, John. All right.
One more thing.
Please, go ahead.
I just want to reach out to Mrs. Kim. Her birthday is coming up, and we won't be here on that. So happy birthday, Gina, because I know you always recognize all of us. Thank you so much.
Happy birthday, Gina. Thank you.
1 year older, none the wiser. Thank you, thank you.
All right, any new business? All right. Do I have a motion to open up to public comment?
Motion?
Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Committeewoman Peachy?
Yes.
Committeewoman Josh Carvello?
Yes.
Committeeman Smith?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Chewinski?
Yes.
Mayor Miller?
Yes. All right. Public participation is now open. Please state your name and the township you reside in for the record. You have 5 minutes to speak, and please note that each person may speak once. Might just have to adjust the microphone, Diane. I apologize.
Diane Verhassel, Special Park. Well, first I want to say thank you, Jen, for announcing. If anybody wants to get any tickets, I do have them tonight with me. If anybody wants any, I'll see you after the meeting. I have 2 questions. When builders get work permits, and I guess, Matt, you would know this, but you're an in-town person who's done stuff for a while, so it'd be different. So I'm talking about builders that aren't always working in town. When they get a permit, are they given like a list of, or ordinances like when to work, not to work on Sunday, or what time to start work, or whatever? I'm just curious if that's something that's an automatic, or do they have to ask for it?
That's something they have to ask for.
So if they choose not to, they won't know the rules?
Well, I think anywhere in Bergen County or the state of New Jersey, it's pretty common, as far as start times and stop times. May vary a little bit from community to community, but the message is the
I'm
same.
saying that because I've seen a couple of crews, and I'm not trying to get anybody in trouble, but that are working on Sundays, and I did think that was something they're not supposed to do, but I'm not going to report them or anything like that. I'm just curious if they're automatically told not to. That's why I was curious. The other thing, and this was done by the committee, not by the land use. You had ended tenant review process, and I understand part of it was the concern about costs and everything. But now when tenants move in, they just move in. And there was even a case that was mentioned, I don't know, I read it somewhere, where when they were making sriracha sauce, and after they were in, the fumes, like the neighborhood, it was very strong, and like the neighborhood had issues. So I'm thinking any company can move in anywhere, and once they're in, they're in. So we don't know if they have enough parking, we don't know if they're doing something, making cheese of things. I mean, I don't know, coming up with, but anything they could be doing, we don't know what they're doing. Once they're in, they're in. And we don't do home inspections either, and I know there's a thing where there used to be anyway, that when a new tenant moves in, whether it's an apartment, any of the we have in town, or 2-3 family house or whatever, when a new tenant comes in, it used to be that they had to have an inspection before another one moves in to make sure they have the carbon monoxide, all kinds of stuff. Now, nobody has to say that they're getting a new tenant. So what happens to all those, whether it's a commercial or private review?
I'm hearing a lot of whispers. Who wants to?
I'd like to chime in a little bit on this.
Go ahead, Mr. Chewinski.
So yes, we used to have a tenancy review, right? I think there's a common ground for this, and I don't know if we have this, Dean. I'm in the process. I just actually, it's funny you mentioned this because that's something that's been on my mind. was made aware from a couple of the communities that they have a tenancy application that has to be filled out, that has all those requirements that they would normally have to, that they would see before a land use board, that they have to physically fill out, and that application has to be approved by the zoning official. In that application, it's a public record, it's on record, and it can be opened, it could be brought back out, and on there it has all those questions. How many parking spaces do you have for your employees? How many parking spaces do you have for your clients? And, you know, signage, everything that the land use board or the planning board would have seen prior to them taking that space.
In other words, somebody moved in and didn't do that.
Well, I don't know if I honestly don't know if we have an application for that. If there's an application that we have, or I don't know what the current process is right now. And I know that we should have an application for that.
And we got rid of it.
But when a commercial tenant comes in, they have to typically they have to go to the building department to get a CO. And if they need a variance, they gotta go before the board. The only change in the ordinance was so to not make it difficult for a tenant to start a business and a landlord, because otherwise it would be a 2 or 3 month process before you could get into the rented space. So it's not that a tenant can go in and do whatever they want. If they conform with the zoning ordinance, there's nothing that the board can do with the tenant review anyway. So if I come in and I'm a tenant in a commercial zone, which is permitted in the zone, and I don't require any variances, it doesn't matter what I say to the board, they can't deny me the right to rent the space because I don't need any relief. So they wanted to eliminate the review process to the extent that it didn't really serve a purpose.
But is that an somebody goes in and says, I want to open a whatever business in whatever the space was. And I'm not talking if it was a doctor to a doctor or something like that, something different. They fill up the application, then what? Is it
Well,
inspected?
I don't know what
You
the
know what I'm
process,
saying?
I don't know what the process specifically is here if you're filling out an application. But they do have to go to the building department.
Correct.
Yeah. And they do have, and the zoning officer or whatever would ask them the questions. What type of business are you putting in? And then he would tell them whether or not it's permitted use in the zone or not.
So they do have to speak to an official, that's okay.
Yes.
And I know that Mr. Erling's back there, I believe with changeover in apartments, do they not have to go through the fire prevention to have it re-inspected each time they change residents on that?
Only if they report it.
Yes, any change of tenancy, 1 and 2 families or apartments are subject to inspection by us. If we find they change tenancy without notifying us, we have the authority to evict them until they're sub-inspected.
Thank you.
So they have to tell you that.
They have.
Okay. Okay, that's what I wanted to know.
So to further that, I think the key is in the application itself and where that application is visible. That's what's going to be helpful.
Right.
And with rebuilding the website and what we're planning to do to make everything more transparent, if we can possibly have that transparent to a link, it would be very powerful.
Once you have your full-time person, they'll be there to ask the questions when the person comes in and says, I want to open a whatever business. As you said, if they're there to ask them the questions, then that's perfect.
But they have to fill out an application.
Right, but I'm saying if
In writing.
somebody's there during the day, there'll be someone to ask them a question or to answer questions, either way. Should be.
Most commercial tenants are going to do their due diligence because they're not going to want to enter into a lease and then find out they can't operate their business there after the fact.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm not saying it can't happen.
No.
It would be a very,
Unusual.
it would be a commercial tenant who really doesn't know what they're doing not to go through that process.
Well, I guess I'm thinking back to a business that opened in town that back then when they had to come to, I don't remember, zoning or one or the other, and there were questions asked where they expected to just open the business, and then questions were asked by Ford at the time, I'm not saying they didn't do their job, where the company thought they could just come in and open, and the end result was, wait a minute, you're going to be using chemicals, you're going to be doing this, you're going to be doing that, and it ended up being several months till they got through the process. So I'm not questioning it doesn't happen, I guess, and I didn't realize it was a requirement, so I appreciate that, Sean, that a tenant has to report, well, should report it, or else there's questions. So that answers that.
That's legal form.
Okay, and you said about they may get the information about working on Sundays and when they start or whatever, they should have.
I don't think it's, I mean, there might be a bulletin that's posted in the, I haven't been in the, seen it in the building department, but there's, a lot of times it's posted in the building department operational hours for contractors, they'll put a posting in there. So when you go in to get a permit, you'll see, Monday through Friday,
Whatever.
Saturdays, no Sundays. But again, if you're a contractor and you're operating in the state of New Jersey or in Bergen County specifically, I think it's pretty commonplace from municipality to municipality not to be working on Sundays, not to be working past a certain hour or before a certain hour. I know that from experience.
Probably just some that are doing the thing.
Thank you, Diane. Thank you, everybody. Yeah, I do love that idea and that contribution from Diane, just about fast facts for builders that enter the building department. For anybody, though, that wants to know Rochelle Park's ordinances, our code book is online. If you just Google Codebook 360, Rochelle Park, you can also search keywords such as sidewalks, trees, and you'll find our ordinances on those policies there. Thanks so much. Mr. Davidson.
First of all, my deepest condolences to the police department and to Michael's family. I'm not going to say any more. The other thing is, I'd just like to know, have you heard anything from the county? This seems to be my favorite governing body. It's reference to Rochelle and Railroad. Has it? And the only reason why I'm asking is I just got done reading an article about, and actually somebody mentioned here on the dais about the soccer. And the county is going to be improving 3 intersections in the area of MetLife. Well, the last I checked, there's been many, many football games, concerts, and everything else. Why in the world we need to be fixing any intersection there? When our project has been sitting out there for at least, I'm noticing maybe 10 years. What is going on? Maybe somebody can put out another phone call to them, because it seems like you get no answers from them. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Davidson. Any recent updates on Rochelle Avenue and Railroad?
No, nothing, and I typically reach out quarterly, to be doing roadways down by the stadium when there's no vehicles allowed in the parking lot doesn't make much sense to me either, Mr. Davidson. But I could follow up tomorrow. I'll definitely shoot an email over. I have a great relationship with Kenny Ehrenberg and Mr. Dutch as well, and I'll go, find out where we're at.
They're great people, by the way. It's always
Understood. Yep, that's why I'll go right to them.
Thank you. Anybody else? Yes, please.
It's actually my first time coming into council, so I appreciate
Welcome.
having your patience with me. My name is Alessandra Tori. I live across the street, 120 West Passaic, known as the Delford. Been there a resident for almost 2 years now. We're so close to the proximity of Garden State Plaza. In the summers, there's kids doing donuts for 20, 30 minutes, fine, so be it. It affects your sleep. Most recently, we had a big storm. They were doing snow removal from 10 p.m. till 2 a.m. And I know that there's no legal jurisdiction for you guys. So my first course of action was, let me call the Primus Police Department. I called on the hour, every hour, from 10 p.m. till 2 a.m. till 1 a.m. And I was speaking to the dispatcher. They would not send me over to the police department to speak one-on-one. And so their response was, we're talking to GSP management. They contracted work from 10 p.m. until, I guess, whenever the hell they were finished, excuse my profanity. And so it's becoming an issue now where it's consistent, where GSP doesn't really care about the noise that is contributing over into our side. And you can see that it's such a small street. You have homes, residential units on the side there. You have us that are tenants. We're so close in proximity. And the biggest thing, I'm sure it's the biggest eyesore, you've seen it, it's a big circus that's there now. So even just today, I came home from the office, I drove an hour, came home, and my windows rattling from them practicing with everything that's going on in the circus right now. So I'm seeing a pattern, a change, and I feel let's nip it in the butt before it gets to the extremity of we have nights that are exactly the same as that one night where we were awake from 10 p.m. until 2 a.m. And I'm just the bottom of the barrel. I'm 28 years old, I have a husband and a dog. There's people in our resident building that have 6-month-year-olds, 2-year-olds, kids. they're closer to that side of the building where they have windows. The circus isn't even ongoing at certain times of the night, and they still have glaring lights going into our apartment buildings. The light transfers and bounces off Columbia storage unit into my apartment. And so, I'm not getting a lot of leeway with Paramus Police. Every time I call them, they're like, well, they're contracted to do work. And I'm like, well, can you send a police presence over? I think, you mentioned, Matthew. So there's certain ordinances where there shouldn't be noise after a certain time affecting us. I mean, I pay a pretty penny for that apartment building. And there's moments I have to end up leaving because I can't even stay inside the apartment building and enjoy, my home peace and quiet or read a book. And so it's becoming a really big issue. I just wanted to come as a resource for you guys. If you have another resource that I can reach out to, you can say I'm being proactive, and this is not my commonality, coming to a board and expressing all of the things that are going wrong. But I think it's just been so consistent. My sleep schedule is ruined at this point. Any words that you guys can help us with?
I appreciate you bringing that to us. I'm going to pass it over to our police chief, who can speak more to this.
And while I'm still the administrator, please send me an email, and there's 2 emails you can get me at. It's either admin@RochelleParkNJ.gov or dpinto@RochelleParkPD.org. I will say I've had great relationships, and I say had because unfortunately Wesley Rabiz and Lawrence Allen, I believe, have moved on from Westfield, who was the ownership. But I will still reach out to them. I'm sure their emails will get forwarded. I'm talking, this is the Westfield Corporation out in California were my contacts, and only because I had a similar situation from our residents down on Harvey Avenue who were complaining about the driving school, and I actually was able to get the plaza to get the driving school to remove the backup alarms off the tractor trailers, so those residents weren't woken up, and annoyed by that. So I promise you, unlike the Paramus PD, that's why we have a local PD, because we're responsive for our residents. I will absolutely follow up and make those phone calls. I'll make those attempts, and if you email me, I will copy you on my email responses so you can see firsthand, and I make you that promise.
Okay, appreciate it. Anything we can do in the short term? Circus is going to be ongoing.
Unfortunately, the circus is going to be ongoing. Again, like you said, jurisdictionally, we really have no jurisdiction over that. I can, again, when I send this email to them, when I ask, hey, can you maybe at least put blinders on? We did this again in a business here in town at 365 West Passaic Street. Their parking lot lights were blinding our neighbors, and I was able to get management to actually dim the LEDs and to put blinders, or basically metal panels on the lights so that, and again, I can ask for that, and I will reach out to, I have a great relationship with the Paramus Police Chief, as do some people sitting up on this dais, so, and I know Chief Guidetti will, probably share and help me if possible.
Okay, I'm happy to hear that you've had a good relationship.
We'll see what happens. I can't make you promises.
Reaches out, as a resource. He tells me that he's sending a police presence over, and we have a direct view into the parking lot.
And that's Paramus, unfortunately. I will make that clear. Chief to chief, I will have that conversation. I can promise you.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Do you mind saying your name for the record?
Sorry. Olsena, last name Kotorr.
Thank you so much, John.
You also mentioned the lights from the storage facility.
Yeah.
How are they affecting the tenants in your building, and what side? I mean, is it affecting the whole building? Is it only affecting that one side closest to the storage facility?
I've had an issue with that. So my living room window directly faces Columbia storage unit. And so in the beginning, when I moved from a blackout room to now being next to the storage unit, it did affect my sleep for sure, and you definitely notice it. So if there's another tenant that's been complaining about that, it's definitely valid. But what I will say is, I think I've taken it upon myself to get curtains installed, where when I do close them, it is a blackout situation.
Okay, so the curtains do assist, but at the
It also depends on, I'm assuming, what floor you're on, the angle at which the lights are coming out. So there's, I think, a lot of different variables to that. But for me personally, in my experience, I've been able to tackle that.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, can I ask what floor you're on?
6th floor.
So you're on the top?
I am on the top.
So it's like right into the window, right?
Yeah, right into the window. It's not just me. I'm very friendly with all my neighbors in the building. I try to,
Yes, I know some people there.
Community, of course. And a lot of people, we had our building manager that he had reached out to the town. And the response, and this is telephone, the response was, we can't really do anything about it, it's not our jurisdiction.
Which town did they reach out to? So I believe, Dean, maybe you could check into it. I believe that's under the nuisance ordinance that we have. So
Yeah,
that
I don't know who in the town was reached out to, it definitely wasn't me, but I'll find out.
Telephone?
Yeah.
I mean, it could have been reaching out to the building department too. I don't know who was reached out to, but we do have a nuisance ordinance that can be enforced, because I'm talking about the building right next to the storage thing.
Yeah.
And I just talked to the council about it. If it's in our town, we can enforce that, correct?
And the lights are coming off of the public storage?
Let council speak on it for a
Well,
second.
the building department would have to check the plans, because when they submitted their plans to get the approval for the storage, they had to show what the lighting was going to be. And if the lighting is not consistent with the plans, then you could issue a violation or compel them to conform with whatever their plans are. Typically, they require shielded plans with no spillage.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean you won't get any light.
No, I think they're supposed to be sensor activated, because when I noticed for certain floors, when there's individuals, and you've probably gotten calls from me too at the police department, when individuals moving into the storage unit at like 2 in the morning, making a ruckus, when they walk through the storage unit, some of the floors are censored.
Yeah.
And so the lights will turn on.
Yeah.
There's a few floors in the storage unit that just stay on the whole time, aren't motion censored. And so, it's my understanding that those are the lights that are feeding into our apartment.
Well, again, that would be something for the building department to look at the plans and look at the lighting is in conformance with the plans, and if not, to make the property owner comply.
Thank you so much for bringing this to us. We look forward to staying updated from the correspondence and communication from Mr. Pinto, but also we really appreciate this feedback from our attorney, as this is an opportunity for us to reach out to our building department on this matter as well. Thank you so much.
No,
Absolutely,
I
anytime.
will definitely be seeing it.
I appreciate it. Perfect.
Any, correspondence going forward.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you.
Good thing I put that.
Anyone else? Hearing or seeing no one, do I have a motion to close public comment?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Committeewoman Tucci?
Yes.
Committeewoman Judge Covello?
Yes.
Committeeman Smith?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Chalinsky?
Yes.
Mayor Miller?
Yes. All right, introduction of ordinance. Our next item is the introduction of ordinance number 1260-26, entitled Amendment of Chapter 4, entitled Administrator. Do I have a motion to introduce ordinance number 1260-26?
Yes.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Committeewoman Tucci?
Yes.
Committeewoman Judge Covello?
Yes.
Committeeman Smith?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Chalinsky?
Yes.
Mayor Miller?
Yes.
And the statement.
Please.
Notice is hereby given that ordinance 1260-26 was introduced and passed on first reading at a meeting of the Township Committee of Rochelle Park held today, February 18th, and order published in accordance with the law. Said ordinance will be considered for final reading and adoption at a meeting held on March 11th, 2026 at 7 p.m. in the Township of Rochelle Park Municipal Building, at which time all persons interested will be given an opportunity to be heard concerning such ordinance. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you so much. All items listed below are considered to be routine and non-controversial by the Township Committee and will be approved by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a committee member or citizen so requests, in which case the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda as part of the general orders. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Committeewoman Tucci?
Yes.
Committeewoman Judge Covello?
Yes.
Committeeman Smith?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Chalinsky?
Yes.
Mayor Miller?
Yes. Thank you so much. The next township meeting will be held on Wednesday, March 11th at 7 p.m. Do I have a motion to adjourn this meeting?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you so much. This meeting is
Thank you.
adjourned.
Thank you. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.